Hello and welcome. Australia is now plunged into an undeclared civil war, with its epicentre of Melbourne bearing the brunt of UN-directed globalist oppression. The Labor Party's Fabian Socialist Premier, despicable Dan Andrews, heads up the high treason that's brutally wreaking economic terrorism and social destruction under the ludicrous pretext of protecting public health. His latest criminal offence is the suspension of the rule of law enforced by the deployment of mercenary SWAT team riot squad police, all stylishly dressed in outfits direct from Madame Lash's wardrobe. Any adult prepared to go out in public garbed in such laughably absurd attire, also designed for Darth Vader fan clubs, should seek urgent counselling. This is not a legitimate Australian police service, so whatever criminal bullying they inflict, such as stomping on people's heads, needlessly smashing in private residency doors for forced entry, unlawfully arresting a pregnant young woman for a Facebook post, and imprisoning people for non-compliance with the criminal insanity of lockdown restrictions, are entirely unlawful and illegal. All these acts constitute malfeasance of public office, which, before too long, will be dealt with to the fullest extent of authentic law, which will restore after all traitors are removed from office. These violent goons in their ridiculous S&M costumes will be held fully accountable for unconscionable conduct, with retribution currently beyond their lamentably dim comprehension, because this war transcends the physical. The global community is also under intensifying attack by the same Rothschild-funded sedition responsible for the horrific destruction and chaos, wreaking murderous havoc throughout the world over the past 250 years. These sadistic ghouls have suppressed over 6,000 patents of inventions that would restore the environment and benefit humanity beyond measure. They comprise the most dangerous, highly organised and far-reaching crime syndicate ever to have blighted humanity. They routinely kill elected leaders, including respected popular presidents. They orchestrate illegal wars, overturn legitimate governments using methods of blackmail, abduction, torture, extortion, bribery, while casually murdering millions of people to enforce tyrannical control. Better known victims are Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, 1914, Tsar Nikolai Romanov, 1918, JFK in 1963, Hendrik Verwoerd, South African Prime Minister, 1966, and countless other world leaders opposing their criminal banking system, including Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. However, light at the end of the tunnel emerges in the form of Donald Trump, who is the first leader to have fractured that satanic control and disrupted their hitherto unchallenged power by taking control of the Fed. This important and potentially fatal blow explains why the never-ending attacks upon him are so vicious while relentlessly ramping up from all quarters. Historically, the USA stood as the deep state's dominant stronghold controlling the rest of the world. As tectonic spiritual and physical changes increasingly arise, the global criminals desperately try to overturn this duly elected president in the hope of preserving their Luciferian power base. They've frantically unleashed all measures to achieve this essential conclusion to their plan, a long-enduring plan, centuries in the making, that is now doomed to ignominious failure. Since Trump evidently still controls the army and now, of course, the Fed, the globalist principal tool is constrained to the corrupt mainstream media with its ceaseless lies and fear-mongering propaganda geared to misinform, distract and maintain fear. It's now come down to a desperate fight for survival for the disintegrating deep state as exponentially more people wake up to its criminal onslaught. They recklessly destroy the economy, destroy cities, bring down entire countries to accomplish their evil agendas. However, if they cannot destroy Trump, they themselves will be destroyed after 250 years of murderous global control and inhumane suppression. For USA residents, it's difficult to gain a clear overview of the unfolding situation because all US media is totally controlled by the cabal propagating vitriolic anti-Trump propaganda. A victory for Trump stands to liberate all other countries from the Rothschild stranglehold control of all central banks and holds the potential to bring long overdue freedom to people everywhere. Personal opinions of Trump are simply not the issue. The overarching point is that he's the only world leader to have routed the Rothschilds by hijacking their central bank in the USA. This spectacular takeover happened quietly during March 2020. Unsurprisingly, it took place in media silence because the media is wholly owned by the same Rothschild banking empire. Defeat of the deep state and its evil influence is imperative for the survival of humanity and the planet itself, because the globalist infection is perilously contaminating all countries, as painfully evidenced by unfolding events in the sabotaged state of Victoria. Australia is criminally stripped of authentic law under the guise of a medical emergency that never existed. Closing down society on the pretext of an invisible medical threat that's yet to be proven to exist is fascism at its absolute worst. What has effectively taken place, albeit hidden in plain sight, is a satanic occult ritual perpetrated on society via all the COVID-19 lockdown measures. Every sordid aspect of this malicious oppression serves a ritualistic occulted purpose, so it's debatable whether they care about being exposed after the fact, having largely achieved their objective, at least among the gullible taken in by the media panic-mongering fear porn and still wearing stupid face masks. From the outset, I refuse to accept any part of the COVID-19 satanic deception, which is inflicted by the physical manifestation of evil in the form of government. Every culture and recorded civilization throughout human history has prophesied and predicted the events unfolding right now. Without exception, they foretell of the downfall of evil. To the fancy-dressed uniformed thugs of the Victorian police, I advise that your head-kicking combat boots are planted squarely on the wrong side of history. You should fully understand the personal and spiritual consequences of supporting satanic fascism. I sincerely hope that pivotal realization dawns upon you in time. Please choose wisely, as you won't get a second chance. Thank you.